what ended up happening was she eventually decided to put the guitar up at auction. You know, she called me and told me she wanted to sell it. I gave her the name of some dealers, and she went in an auction place that I'd seen Les Paul had sold his stuff at Heritage Auctions. So she went with Heritage Auctions, and I never even watched the auction. I mean, it was too painful to me.
Yeah,
I
that would be
admit
tough.
to kind of wanting to have it just for sentimental reasons and musical
Sure.
reasons, and I didn't want to get involved in it, so I just let it go. Well, the thing sold for about 10% of what I thought it was worth, and it was quite a shock to me. And but I still wouldn't have been able to pay that much even then. So, but it did go to a really great guy from Oklahoma, lives in Colorado, Charlie Christian fanatic. You know what I mean? So the connection between him and Barney was there. He told me he bought it just to keep it from getting in the hands of a collector and just leaving the planet. And Phyllis got to be friendly with him, and I got to be friendly with him. And so now this is the weird shit, and people aren't going to believe this, but last May, I played a gig at Kumba Jazz Center, which is a great club in Santa Cruz, California. It's been there for 50 years practically, almost. I was going to play a live stream there, and I'm driving up from Monterey. It's about an hour away. All of a sudden, like Barney Kessel sitting in the next seat next to me. I swear to God. I mean, I don't see him. It wasn't a hallucination,
Right,
but I
I
could
know what
just
you
feel
mean.
his presence. All I could do was think about Barney, think about stuff, smell that weird cologne, and it just think about it. And it just like, it was like, why is this guy, why am I doing this? Well, I get to Kumba and I realized like 35, 40 years ago, I had played there with him. So I just chalked it up to like some sort of weird brain connection. But even when I got to Kumba and realized what it was, and I've played at Kumba like dozens and dozens and dozens of times, so and never thought of Barney. So it's like, and it's still going even though I'm there. And so I emailed the guy who had the guitar, and I said, "Man, you're not going to believe this. I'm having the most amazing Barney Kessel flashbacks. I'm playing in a club we played in a long time ago. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're getting along with the guitar. Listen, if you ever decide to let it go, give me first crack at it." And I went up and played the gig. And then I got off and looked at my phone, and he'd gotten back to me and he says, "I don't believe your timing." He said, like, I had just decided to get rid of it because I don't want to have it in case something happens to me. I don't want my wife or my kids to have to deal with it. They don't know what it is. You know, I don't want to put that on them. I need to do this. Yeah, I've had it long enough. He says, and yeah, I know I could get a lot of money from a collector probably if I did this right. He said, but I'd really rather somebody who had a connection to Barney have it, and or a museum. And so he said, if you want it, if you pay me what I paid for it, if you come get it, and if you give me a guitar lesson, you can have it. 2 weeks later, I was in the car driving to Colorado. I picked up a gig in Denver. That was during when we were opening up from COVID for a second. So I picked up a gig in Denver and a gig in Fort Collins and a gig in Salt Lake. Went and got the guitar, gave him his lesson. As soon as he said yes, I called John and Jeff and Gary. John has raised bass, so that
Hmm.
was an easy one. And John said, "Yeah, let's do it." And since COVID was kind of happening, we weren't really going on the road, so it was kind of easy to find some time to go in the studio. Jeff said, "Yeah," and then my friend Gary Hobbs up in Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, Washington, has Shelley's drums from that around that time. And I knew of another set that the Monterey Jazz Festival still has, but that was later. So I wanted to get something closer to the. I mean, it's hard to know what people used on what dates. I know for a fact Shelley used those records on the My Fair Lady date and the Doctari sessions because I have pictures of that. So I got the drums and we got together and we made this record. And we just basically called tunes and played. And I thought of little cool arrangements that harkened them. I also got pictures of the original. The recording studio's gone, so we couldn't do it there. But I got pictures of the recording session, so I saw how they mic'd everything. So we kind of just decided to mic it the same way they did. And actually, I've got a friend who's a guitar collector in New York City who called me? He says, oh, you got Barney's guitar now? I said, yeah. And he says, well, you know, you need his amp. And I
Oh
said,
no.
yeah, I don't even know where that is. I said, I remember his son was selling it at auction, you know, a couple of years ago. That's the last I heard of that thing. You know, and he says, yeah, he says, that's, yeah, it's true. He said, I've got it. And so he sent it to me. Yeah. So I use the amp. But I mean, I don't sound at all like, I mean, there's qualities that beautiful, clean, like you heard the record. So there's
But yeah,
that quality of sound, people in the same room together. But like my touch is so different from Barney. It doesn't, it sounds like me.